Hello YouTube, Uncle Lucky here again, and welcome to another episode of Comic Book Cuisinart. Today's review is going to be on Green Lantern Lost Army. This is kind of a sore spot with me right now, and I think a lot of other fans, but we'll get to that in the review. So, here we go. Sayers does a lot of good work in this comic book. He brings a lot of the characters to life and pops in a lot of pretty good colors. It's very pretty book. It doesn't have any flaws that I can see. The color palette's very nice, if not a little bit muted. Sometimes on the characters, just kind of odd. Another thing is with the introduction of Guy Gardner into the storyline, he's using two rings, green and red. So they affectionately call him the Christmas Lantern. But the way the colors are in the book, it's pretty good. It holds up really well. And Sayers has got a really good eye. He captures the action pretty well. As far as story goes, we'll get into that. Now, for this review, it's going to be kind of a double-edged sword. The problem with the story is that it's going to abruptly end and go into something else. So I'm going to base this review off of what's going to be the first 6 issues. The problem is DC promised a lineup for a bunch of these new comic books that came out, and a bunch of these new comic books aren't going to go the distance. Strangely, Green Lantern's Lost Army isn't going to go anywhere. Everybody else is pretty much stopping at 12 issues. Lost Army only got 6, and then they're going to jump into another story involving the Green Lantern Corps, and then somewhere they're going to tie it together with Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, who's out searching for him. So this is going to be a hard one to review because I can only go off of so many issues before it abruptly ends. I don't like that, but here we go. Story's interesting, and I'm not sure where they wanted to go with this story. It's kind of all over the place. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just to start off with this story, whereas DC dropped the ball on this comic book along with a couple of others, which are no exception, that came out around the same time, or roughly a couple of weeks apart from each other. The biggest problem is they did the same thing that they did with Dr. Fate #1. They expected you to go to the internet and read the first couple of pages of their comic book. But then they didn't bother putting that piece into the paper-ran edition of the comic book. You can see it online, but you can't read it in the comic book. And it took so much away from these comics. Now, I'm not sure which other ones they did this to, because there was this big thing, you go to the internet now, go to the internet now, come to DC and read the first couple of pages of these comics and see how you like them. And they didn't bother to put those pages in. So you instantly feel like you're missing something. Both with Dr. Fate and the Green Lantern's Lost Army, you are missing something when you first open this book up. You have no idea what's going on. Same thing that I said with Dr. Fate. You have no idea what's going on. You're just boom, there's the characters, actions are happening, and it demolishes the first part of your story. The first part of your read, you're actually thumbing through, like I did. You went back and forth once or twice going, what am I missing here? What am I missing? Because I read the Dr. Fate on the internet. I looked at their first 2 pages or whatever that they offered, and kind of understood, but forgot about it when I went and picked up the comic book. With this one, I never got a chance to read those first couple of pages. So might as well just throw the first couple out the window because it doesn't make any sense. The story itself, after you get past that big break of things that don't make any sense because you didn't see what was going on the computer, it gets good. It really does. So the story, and I don't think there's going to be a spoiler alert here. If you haven't actually picked up the Green Lantern Lost Army before issue 4 or 5, it's going to end abruptly at 6 anyway. So there's not going to be too much spoiler here. This was more of a build-up to something else. We don't know yet, but it was a build-up to something else. So the story, the Green Lantern Corps wakes up. They don't know where they're at. That's pretty much the premise of how it starts off. They wake up, they don't know where they're at, and they're being attacked by all sorts of space stuff. Just different things in space are attacking them out of nowhere. John Stewart is leading the charge. He's got Kilowog and a bunch of the other staples with him, but they're just trying to figure out where they're at. And they have another villain with them. They don't know how he got there, but it just leads into them wandering through space, trying to figure out what's going on. And, you know, the story had a chance to build up, I think. It really did. It had a chance to grow a lot more, but it's going to abruptly end at 6. So that's why I say this is a hard review, really, because something that we were supposed to get into and get at least a year out of, we didn't. So I would say, and this is going to be a shorter review because there's not much else I can say about it. I can go on and on about different things that they threw in there, but inevitably I think DC dropped the ball on this one pretty bad. They really did. It's because now they're going to go into another story. After they cut this one off at 6, they're going into another Green Lantern Corps story that will go into something else. I'm guessing that they'll bring back the original Green Lantern Corps comic books. Maybe the other fans were upset about it and got a backlash. I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense though, because DC's already proven, you know, lately, and I'm not bashing DC. I love DC, but sometimes they get ahead of themselves or they screw things up beyond repair. They do. They screw things up beyond repair sometimes, and it doesn't make any sense. They didn't really listen to the fans for quite a while with the Batman story arc, where everybody was hating Steel Suit Bunny Rabbit Batman. If you don't know what that is, don't even look it up, but it's not even cool, really. So for this review, I'm not even going to say to buy the Green Lantern Lost Army, really. If you've gone this long into issue 4 or 5 right now and you haven't picked any of them up, you're not going to do yourself any favors, because you're just going to pick up a 6-issue run and it's going to be done and it goes into something else. I honestly couldn't recommend picking these up. I don't think they would have a graphic novel or a hardcover form, because what would be the point? There's nothing to continue with after that. They would just be wasting their time and money to make those graphic novels. So, you know, buy it, wait for the graphic novel. That's just not going to happen in this situation. I can't recommend buying the Green Lantern Lost Army, and that's terrible, because I love the Green Lantern, and the Lost Army was looking to be a really good series. So that's the unfortunates of the situation. Nothing we can do about it. I just say pass it up. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next comic book Cuisinart. Have a good one.